Now, in continuing from the last post, to say that James Longstreet was in a difficult position right out the gate is a major understatement. What had happened was he came on the whole campaign thinking it was going to be done defensively minded in order to make sure things were done well and make sure the army was safe. And here he was in a situation taking the field where his army was going on the offensive. And he'd overlooked the position the day before, and he saw that those areas were being fortified and that any form of attack on them would be suicide. And he protested this to Lee left and right. Now, a major shift in Lee here, and I think this had largely to do with the fact that Ewell and Hill did not take the initiative that was before them. He gave them open-ended orders and let them decide what was best and how to execute them. He went the exact opposite with Longstreet on this one. He gave him his specific instructions and would not deviate. He would not give Longstreet any room to maneuver. He actually told Longstreet he wanted that attack to go as early as possible, hit those two rocky hills of the south, which were Little Round Top and Big Round Top, which were at the time unoccupied. However, Longstreet's corps were coming on a hard march. They were exhausted. You know, one thing that Lee had actually said in a moment of frustration the night before, he was talking to Ewell, Early, and Rhodes, and he spoke of how what frustrated him is how slow Longstreet was. What it is with Longstreet is, think of it as setting up a chessboard. He liked to have everything in place, everything in order, everything exactly where it needed to be, and then strike and strike hard. He wanted to make sure all his bases were covered before he went charging in headlong. And he knew when he took the field on July the 2nd that that was a position that was almost completely, to give you an example, it'd be like trying to face this hill right next to me. In a lot of ways, the rocks went straight up on the Round Top and Little Round Top area. We're in Cleveland. We're not in Gettysburg right now. But that's just to give you an idea of just how difficult it would have been to get up there under heavy fire. Now, Longstreet, he was against this in the first place. He did not move as fast as Lee wanted him to, did not get his men up as fast as he wanted to. And what happened was he began marching his men out because they did not have Stuart yet. Stuart was still nowhere to be found. And he actually, by one of Lee's staff officers, he went and checked the area out briefly, and he showed that the area was open, and Longstreet marches the entire two divisions down that way, down south to get around the area of Little Round Top. Unfortunately, as soon as they came over a hill, they realized they were in broad view of the Union position, and the Union could see everything they were doing. So in order to make sure things were safe, Longstreet had to do an about face, turn his army around, go backwards, go back up around another area of trees, and go all the way around. And plus, he wanted to wait until he had General Law's brigade of Hood's division to make sure they could make the attack with as much power as possible, which added another 30 minutes to it. And so they were on the march, and around late in the afternoon, around 4 o'clock on July the 2nd, 1862, they began going to the area of what was called the wheat field, the Devil's Den, heading toward Little Round Top. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip over here, and we're going to start talking about what's happening on the Union side of the line. More on that to come.